What is going on, everybody? We're back talking Matlock, not the new one. We're talking the original one, so everybody can be happy again. But John, how you doing?
I'm doing well. You know what? If I may, I'm just take a moment to say thank you to everybody who has been watching over the last several episodes. I know that there was some crazy stuff that happened, and we kind of shifted some things around, and we did a review of the first season of the new Matlock. So we've kind of been off the normal sway of things, if you will, but we're back at it here tonight, getting back to the classic way in which we review and analyze and talk about Matlock. So I'm excited to be here, and thanks for everybody who's been watching over the last several episodes.
And now a quick song with Randy Travis.
Oh, so many questions about that.
Oh
I can't wait. I can't wait to talk about them. In fact, I hope that some of our regular viewers will chime in and give us their opinions on Randy Travis as a guest star. But you, sir, just got back about 6 or 7 hours ago from a quick trip to Georgia, correct?
Yeah, one of my buddies' birthday was this week, so I went down there to we threw a surprise party. Well, my friend Autumn and his friend Sasha threw a surprise party for him, and I was in charge of keeping him busy. No idea. He was shocked when we got there. Like, I thought me coming into town for the night would be a red flag, but he didn't think anything of it. He just thought the four of us were going to dinner, and then he shows up at the bar, and there's like 50 people there. So it was the first successful surprise party I've ever seen from start to finish. Kylie threw me one, and she was almost there, but when I got to the venue, my buddy Selwyn was walking in, so I got spoiled before I walked in. But and she started to suddenly become friends with my Facebook friends, which made me a little bit suspicious. But this is the first one, like 1,000% was successful. Like the look of shock on his face was fantastic. I was glad to be a part of it. And then, of course, karaoke happened because it seems to happen anytime I'm with that group.
What songs did you sing?
The songs I always sing, John.
Which are?
Real Slim Shady and Ice Ice Baby. I'm working on some new ones, but...
how was the flight?
Good. It's quick. A couple hours.
You flew with a airline whose name rhymes with Irit.
Well, the first trip I did Frontier, and then the second one I did Spirit back. Okay. And $80 for a day trip, it's not that bad.
No, that's a pretty good price.
Yeah, man. This is the year of experiences. I don't say no to anything.
Well,
if something is happening, I'm going.
You better say no to drugs.
Oh yeah, of course. No to drugs, but I have picked drinking back up. So, I mean,
Okay. As long as it's not like airplane. This is the worst week. I should have stopped sniffing glue. Anyways.
One of these days I'll watch Final Destination on the plane. I keep saying I'm going to. I keep downloading it, and then I chicken out.
Yeah.
Final Destination or Lost is what I want to watch on the airplane, specifically the first episode.
Well, Justin, our producer, has just chimed in. We got a disappear guy. Jason, you in? So look, he's, you want to get rid of a dead body? That's a new experience.
It is a new experience. Let's do it. I got Italian in the family, Justin. I know some people. I know a guy. I know a guy who knows a guy.
I'm sure so does Justin, and so do I, for that matter. Anyways.
But I started watching Yellow Jackets.
Okay, I was just gonna say let's get into the what you're watching right now. And so you said Yellow Jackets.
It is good.
I don't know much about that show.
What's that?
I don't know much about that show.
I kind of did, but it's not exactly what I thought it was in the best way possible. It's got a hell of a cast. Juliette Lewis, Christina Ricci, she's Melanie. She's married to Jason Ritter. She was in like 2.5 Men. She's in The Last of Us. I can't think of her last name, but she's in it. It's really good. A group high school girls soccer team gets in a plane crash, and then it shows them during and then what's happening in the present day. So there's flashbacks to that. It's really good. I'm only halfway through season 1, I think.
Okay.
Hope to finish it this week. Jamie and I plan to talk about it next week if I can get her to actually watch it.
Is it on Paramount Plus?
Yeah, Showtime.
Showtime, Paramount Plus. Okay. All right. Anything else you've been watching, man?
No, that's pretty much it. Shows have ended.
Yeah.
I've been rewatching The Good Wife. I'm on season 3 of that.
As for me, I just have a movie that I watched, and I have become a fan of, and I'm going to give him a plug. Vintage Verse is a movie YouTube channel where they talk about really obscure films, and there was one on there that sounded really, really good. It was a countdown of the best revenge films, um, and it's called Blue Ruin, and it stars a guy named Macon Blair. It's really interesting because it's Macon Blair plays a character of Dwight, and Dwight basically he kind of has like nothing really going on. He lives out of his car. He's kind of a recluse, and the reason why is because his mother and father were brutally murdered, and so the movie picks up with him finding out that the murderer is getting out of jail. He's getting paroled, and so Dwight's out to get revenge. But the twist is he doesn't really know how to do revenge. Like he's clueless as to what to actually do. So it makes for a very interesting story. I like it. I'll tell you right now, it's on Tubi. It's free. It's from 2013, so it's not an old movie from like the 70s or 80s. It's a pretty current flick. I highly recommend it. I definitely suggest folks check it out. If you like a revenge movie, it's pretty interesting and it's pretty top notch.
So is this Dwight pre-working for Dunder Mifflin or post-working for Dunder Mifflin?
Post working for Dunder Mifflin.
Okay.
Yes. I would try to make a Dwight Yoakam joke, but I don't know if I can. So, you know.
We got enough classic country in this episode.
Oh, we do. So, all right, should we go ahead, Jason, and get on into it?
I guess if we have to.
All right, then, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into our opening statement. The name of this episode is The Big Payoff, and the original air date is February 28th, 1992. We've already talked about the guest star. I mean, really, honestly, the other two I jotted down, they pale in comparison. We're talking about Randy Travis, country music singer extraordinaire. He will be playing the role of Billy Wheeler. Now, I don't know much. The only song I really know from Randy Travis is Forever and Ever, Amen. I know he had a slew of hits like Digging Up Bones, Deeper Than the Holler. He's got a discography that's massive. So you'll all have to excuse my ignorance on the discography of Randy Travis. He just wasn't quite my cup of tea as a kid growing up in the late 80s, early 90s. So, Jason, you're shaking your head because this is clearly not in your wheelhouse either, is it?
Well, John, as far as I know, Randy Travis has not released a hip hop album, so I have not listened to Randy Travis yet. But I think I've heard enough. It's not for me.
Yeah. I mean, now how he ended up on this episode, I really want to know. I feel like there's an interesting backstory there, and
he
sadly,
comes back.
Huh?
He comes back in 2 other episodes.
Yes. So I'm curious how he managed to get that role, that position. I understand Liz has a comment. So Jason, hey guys, Poker Face is back for the summer. Natasha Lyonne, Ryan Johnson Columbo reboot. And it's fantastic. I've heard that a lot, Liz, that it's a pretty good
I plan
show.
on watching it, Liz. I was going to watch it and then Yellow Jackets. You and my friend Autumn recommended Yellow Jackets, so I jumped on that. But as soon as I'm done with Yellow Jackets, I'm going to watch Poker Face for sure.
All right, Liz, do you know anything about Randy Travis and his songs? That's what we're lacking on this episode. So if you know anything, throw it in the comments. That goes for not just Liz, anybody that's watching, ladies and gentlemen. Throw your comments down there in the comments, and we'll read them here on the air.
Randy Travis is actually Liz's uncle. It's not true. That I know of. Watch it be true. She'd be like, "That is my uncle." Wow.
Well, it's my uncle on my dad's side.
And he did
Anyway,
make a hip hop album. Wow.
with the Outcast. That's because I could see them. That's who. Like, if you were to say to me, John, pick a rap act to team up with Randy Travis, I'm going. Yeah, Andre 3000 and Big Boy. I'm going Outcast.
No, it'd be Nelly. Nelly does a lot of stuff with country music.
Oh, that's a good. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah. Okay. All right, well, let's talk about a couple of other guest stars in this episode. The first one, David Spielberg. He'll be playing the role of Peter Angeli. By the way, no relation to Steven. You may know him also for his role as Mr. Casey in the horror movie Christine. Dr. Neil Bernstein on ER. Ned Vogel on Falcon's Crest. Herb Ketcher on Wise Guy. Skip Morgan on Space, and Mark Harrison on One Day at a Time, and about 100 other credits as well. Jason, are you a fan of Christine? I don't think, of all the horror movies that we've talked about, I don't know if we've ever talked about that. Are you a fan of that classic Stephen King
I am,
book?
and I've read the book as well.
Which is better, the book or the movie?
Pretty similar.
Okay.
I like them both. One's obviously has more depth than the other, but for the most part, the story is pretty much the same. I even like the remake Halloween Ends.
Oh, okay. I didn't know there was a remake.
No, but the plot of the last Halloween movie is pretty much the same. Only instead of it's Michael Myers.
Right over my head on that one. All right. And then our final guest star is a gentleman by the name of Lou Beatty Jr. He plays Kevin's lawyer. Reason why I jotted him down is he's got a lot of more recent credits to his name. He has quite a few, but you might know him as Earl from the movie Novocaine, which I know you're a big fan of, Jason.
Oh my God, that movie is so good. Have you seen it yet, John?
I have not seen it.
It is just a good time at the movies. Justin recently watched it. I wonder what he thought.
Well, Justin can let us know. He can throw in the private chat his thoughts. But Lou also played Walter on A Million Little Things, Reggie Franklin Sr. on 911, a janitor in Ford versus Ferrari, Stan in A Christmas Switch, Pecan Pete on Hart and Leonard, which is a criminally underviewed TV show, by the way. I'm just throwing that out there. Hap and Leonard. He also played Judge Colony on Boston Legal. He was the cop at Marla's building in Fight Club. He played Tom Boland on Hunter. And as I said, he has about another 75 other credits to his name.
He was really good in A Million Little Things.
What was A Million Little Things? I don't remember that show.
A Million Little Things was ABC. I think it was ABC's answer to This Is Us.
Oh yeah. I remember that.
Four guys. One of them ends up committing suicide, and then it's really good. I really liked it.
Yeah, cool.
Not a good show to watch back to back, but This Is Us though. And then Handmaid's Tale. That's a good 3 pairing right there, everybody. If you want to be depressed for 3 hours, throw those 3 shows on, and they got you covered.
Okay. All right. Well, let's talk about. That's it. That's all. I'm sorry. I was gonna say let's talk about another guest star, but that's it. So it's time, Jason, for me to ask you to give an opinion, your opinion, and solely your opinion. So help you.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know if people want to hear it, but yeah, I'm here.
Well, that's too bad. Because it's time to testify. All right, the plot of this episode, ladies and gentlemen, is Michelle works with an insurance investigator to prove that a man killed his rich wife to get insurance money. So the opening scene I like because it's a little bit different. I really like what they did with this. It shows people at a party. there's a lady in a red dress who's running to the embrace of her lover or boyfriend or husband. And while that was the opening credits, it also actually ends up being a deodorant commercial that kicks off the episode. So I kind of like how they kind of gave us a little bit of a swerve on that. So I like it. Well, we meet Grace, who is in charge of this commercial shoot, and she's pretty mad about the performance of the lady in the red dress. Like, she's like, "Oh, that was terrible, awful," you know. And Peter Angeli is like, "Look, it's a deodorant commercial. It doesn't have to be Shakespeare." And both he and Grace kind of start arguing. Grace ends up threatening to fire Peter because he just doesn't get it. He doesn't understand her vision for, I guess, these projects and whatnot. And so Peter gets pretty mad. As a matter of fact, he slams the car door shut on Grace, not on her as in like her hand was in her, but on, like slams the car door. And Grace starts talking about, "You know what, Peter, if it wasn't for my dad, you wouldn't have a job. You owe him everything. You should be more respectful. But you know what? Fine. You want to be a tough guy. You want to slam a car door. You're fired." And I understand that we have a comment from our good friend Wilkie.
Corey, what's up, bud?
What's up, Corey? What's going on, man? Well, we find out that Grace arrives home at late that night, and we find out this I felt was like way out of the blue. I didn't get in that first like scene with Grace. I didn't get that her and Richard were a couple. Did you?
No.
So for me, she walks in on Richard in bed with another woman, and I'm like, okay, because I didn't think that. I thought they were more like business partners and not like lovers. So I'm like, oh, okay, what's so scandalous about this? And then within a few seconds of her entering the room, they start, arguing and whatnot. She's sick and tired of his philandering. Grace wants a divorce and she wants him out, etc., etc. Jason, any thoughts so far on the first few segments of Mattalk? Matlock, excuse me.
It's fine so far. It's a little off to a slow start, but it's fine.
Well, Richard, who is again the lover, or I guess you could say husband of Grace, he ends up after their argument calling somebody and says, "Meet me in the studio." So in the studio is his brother Kevin, and Kevin and Richard, they talk about the breakup. The funny thing about Kevin is that he's not on the payroll, which I thought was a throwaway line just to throw it out there. But anyways, Kevin is a little bit concerned about his position in the company, and of course Richard's worried about the money as well. And so then we cut to a scene where Grace is getting ready. She's getting dressed. She walks out of her bedroom, and out of nowhere, Richard just happens to appear and throws her down the steps. What did you think about her untimely demise?
I don't think that would have killed her.
I was gonna say that too.
We didn't hear a snap. I'm like, is she gonna get back up and kill him? Is it gonna be like a reversal here? Because
that would have been sweet. She pulled a knife out and stabbed him in the gut a couple times, but
there was nothing about that fall that made me think, all right, we're done.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think it was maybe just they used it because it's a cliche and we haven't seen it in a while. But Richard also leaves some sunglasses behind as evidence. So then Richard has a conversation with Kevin, a private conversation with him. And Kevin is like really bent out of shape, like, "Man, what did you do? What did you do?" And, of course, Richard's like, "Don't worry, I took care of it." So we cut to Ben, who needs his house painted. I don't know about you all, wherever you're listening. Some of you, like Corey, is listening in another state, obviously not Ohio, but here in Ohio, we have a great company called Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield. See, I think Ben needs Rhino Shield.
I have never heard of that.
You've never heard of that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. it's basically a company that instead of using regular paint, they use this like synthetic like paint that like it like attaches itself to whatever the like if it's stucco or brick, it'll attach itself to there. It's just like a polymer type of thing.
Can you sing it to us again real quick in case it jogs Justin and I's memory?
Never paint your house again, Rhino Shield.
No, still not. That's a nice sound bite at 21 minutes, so I gotta make sure I clip that.
I hope it becomes a short. I would love that. Anyways, Ben does not like the estimate, right? And so he's wondering what to do. Michelle shows up, and Ben's like, man, last time I had this whole house painted for $200. And then Michelle says last time that this house was painted, Nixon was running for vice president. Hey, anybody out there know what's wrong with that statement? Yeah, you don't run for vice president. You're on the ticket.
I mean, I get what she was going for.
Right. She was going for the fact that it has been a buttload of time since the last time this thing was, painted. This house was painted, but still, I was like, no, it should have been the last time Nixon ran for president. So
yeah, and we find out Michelle is apparently a lawyer.
Yes, she's going solo like Han.
She's like, can you handle this, Ben? He's like, you're a lawyer, right? I'm trying to paint my house. You go do it.
Which I like that. I like the fact that we finally get Michelle gets the chance to shine. So we go to police headquarters. Bob Brooks is interviewing Peter. Michelle is there. She's advising Peter what to say and what not to say. The sunglasses are key evidence because I guess because they found them there and because I don't know how they matched them to Peter. I guess that they were like, well, you have another pair of these. I don't know. They didn't really fully explain how they matched up because they could have been any random person's sunglasses, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right.
Well, he doesn't wear them. Circumstantial. We do have a comment. It's kind of trendy. Yeah, we should probably reach out to them for a sponsorship. Or at least get John a job singing their jingle.
Never paint your house again, Rhino Shield.
John's still watching commercials in 2025.
I know.
You, buddy.
What can I say? I don't know what to tell you. There's a scene now where Kevin and Richard are celebrating because they have made $2 million off the death of Grace. And all of a sudden, there's a knock at the door. And so Richard goes and answers it. And lo and behold, we're introduced to Max Sugarman. I got to say, for the first couple of minutes, I wasn't sure how I felt about Max Sugarman, but he grew on me like a fungus. That's all I can say. What about you?
This would have been another good opportunity for Ace Calhoun to be in this episode.
Oh, I don't know. I like Max, though.
I know, but I meant the two of them together.
Oh, okay. Okay, I see what you mean there. I see what you mean. Okay.
Yeah, he's the stereotypical insurance salesman.
Yep. Sorry, folks. I had to take a drink to wet the whistle, so to speak. Max Sugarman is an insurance agent who's in charge of the investigation into Grace's death. And, this does not make things copacetic with, of course, Richard, because Richard just wants the paycheck. He wants the check, but they have to do the investigation. Max did notice that there was some champagne bottles in the room. And here's my question. Again, I know what you're going to say, Jason. You're going to say that Atlanta is a safe city, but they left the front door open the whole time Max was grilling Richard about the facts of the case.
Well, man, I mean, it is safe because ain't nobody have time to rob anybody because you can't get anywhere. Because of the traffic. I've been to Atlanta. I've officially been to Atlanta, and I've been to Atlanta traffic, and it is a parking lot for like an hour to go a mile and a half.
So when I rag on Atlanta traffic, you now know you can empathize, right?
Somebody's like, if you don't go to the courthouse, I'll be disappointed. But how am I going to go to the courthouse? That's going to be like a 3-day trip. I don't have that kind of time.
All right, you know what? Maybe traffic is the reason why there's not more theft or murder. All right. Yeah, I wrote down here. Despite Max's wackiness, I kind of like him. And so we go back to Ben's house where Michelle and Ben are reviewing the case, and they're also trying to pick out paint. And lo and behold, there's a knock on the door. And guess who it is? It's Max Sugarman, who pitches this idea of why don't we team up because we're both trying to solve the same case. And so Michelle says that sounds good, and Max even mentions, "Hey, I just came from the house, and you'll never believe what they're doing. They're drinking champagne. That's a little weird, isn't it?" And so Ben, excuse me. So I have down here, women love Max. Now, I believe that is going to be, that's a side note to a scene that I'm going to go ahead and jump ahead and talk about it real quick, because there's a scene where Max gets sent to a commercial shoot where all these beautiful women are getting dressed and whatnot. And Max is hamming it up like big time. Like the one young lady was like, "Oh, can you zip me up?" And he's like, "Oh, I can zip you up." Zip, and he's playing it so like corny, but yet that's what made me say, because I think he mentioned something about the ladies liking him, and I'm like, whatever, dude. Come on now. We have a comment from Liz. "It was me. I said you had to go to the Hurt building, Ben's office. The courthouse is actually a church in LA." There you go, Jason.
There you go.
I would say that
right. It was definitely her, and yes, I should have. But again, I don't want to stop halfway and get a hotel.
Especially if you want me to book that hotel. Anyways, so anyways, Ben is off driving and he picks up a hitchhiker, which that's not dangerous at all. I mean, I know he said, "Are you going to rob me?" But like, who's going to admit to, yeah, I'm going to rob you? So anyways, Ben picks up a hitchhiker who is Billy Wheeler, and he pitches this idea of painting his house, which Billy Wheeler agrees to. Again, we go back to that scene where Max is interviewing all these models, and he does find out that Grace did have a prenup. So that's an interesting motive. And then again, as I said, there's all the women that he flirts with backstage there at that shoot. Then Richard is interviewed by Michelle and Max, and they bring up the fact that he's had some affairs, plural, with other women, and that makes him very mad, and he threatens Max that he better have his money or else he's going to take him to court. So now we go to Billy, who's prepping for painting, and he's singing a song, and Ben comes out and wants to know what's taking so long. And Billy's like, "Well, I'm trying. I'm not real skilled at doing this, so I'm trying." But Billy has a guitar, and Ben starts talking to him about the guitar, and Billy's like, "Well, I got this from a fella for $1, and I refurbished it, and I play it." And so Ben tries to urge him to continue to work and get some more work done. Look, what did you expect, Ben, when you pick a guy up who's hitchhiking on the side of the road? What do you expect? Do you expect them to be a master craftsman? Like, seriously, man.
Maybe just to work faster. He's not getting paid by the hour. If he's getting paid at all.
He's getting paid in hot dogs. I bet that's what he's getting paid in.
Probably. Yeah.
So we have a mandatory song where Billy impresses Ben with his song. And again, I wrote down here, I want to know the backstory. How was it that Randy Travis got on this show? What are you doing? Thumbs down.
Because I don't like the song's fine. It was performed well, but we didn't need him to do an entire 3.5-minute song in the middle of the episode.
No, you're right.
One. We don't just get one. Like, there is 8 minutes of just musical performances in this episode that could have been used for the plot. And I'm totally giving away my thoughts on this episode right now, but the performance was fine. Randy Travis has a very nice voice, and I can watch him perform anywhere else, and him and Andy Griffith can perform. It's fantastic, but I don't know why we needed a whole set in the middle of this episode.
You're right. You're right. Absolutely correct on that. So we go to the courtroom, and Max is carb loading. I mean, God, how many donuts did he have on his plate? Jeez, oi. But Michelle arrives, and she thinks that Richard has the motive, right? Because there's supposedly a mystery alibi, which contains a video that Richard has, and he's willing to show it. And so Max and Conrad are dispatched and said, go see if you can find out what this videotape is. So we go to a scene where Max is watching a commercial proof, which is explained that basically it's a dry run with the materials. All right. It doesn't have to be perfect, but they want to know, how does the product look on camera? Where's the lighting, et cetera, et cetera. So it's supposedly filmed during the murder of Grace. And there's a clock in the background that's on the morning news that says 7:45 a.m. And then they watch a little bit more, and it's 9 a.m. and the tape is never cut off. So that means that Max is like, there's obviously your alibi is pretty airtight, because Grace was murdered a little bit before 9 o'clock, and obviously you're here on this tape. Your brother is on the camera running the camera, so it is what it is. However, Conrad arrives undercover to work on those machines. This might be the worst undercover job that Conrad's ever done. I mean, he did not sell me on the fact that he knew what the hell he was doing with those machines. And wouldn't there only be a few individuals that could work on those? And so when a rando guy shows up, Richard wouldn't be suspicious.
Yeah, you would think so.
You would think so. But anyways.
Or maybe use that extra 8 minutes to explain it.
Oh, there you go. So Max wants a copy of the tape. Max, though, gets into an argument with Richard, and he's thrown out of the building. Meanwhile, Conrad witnesses an argument between the brothers, and he almost gets caught because of a noise, and they shine the flashlight. But he didn't get caught, and the brothers leave. And so then we cut to another scene where Conrad and Max are watching the commercial over and over and over again, and all it does is cement the alibi. But wait, Max catches something. He catches the fact that the time on the watch that's on the wrist of Rich, it says it's 9:30. Uh-oh. So this clearly messes with the timeline. We go to Ben, who's at home. Ben doesn't like Billy's painting. There's another jam session, another 2-3 minutes that we could have used to explain things in this episode. I like that Ben says that Billy should be picking and singing. I don't know. That just sounded very, very Southern and old-timey, so I threw that in my notes. And Ben's going to try to help Billy get a gig. Like that's kind of inferred. So we go to a
become
scene.
Your manager, Billy.
Yeah, there you go. We go to a scene where there's a moving company, and they're packing up everything out of Richard's house. And Kevin arrives, and Kevin talks to the maid and says, "Where's my brother?" "Oh, you just missed him. He was here. He's leaving." "What are you doing?" "We're packing up all the stuff to put in storage." "Why?" "Oh, we don't know. That's just what we were told to do." So Kevin goes and gets in his car and takes off. And so Kevin stops by the studio. And the security guard said, "Richard just left. He was here. He left just a few minutes ago. You missed him." So that means Kevin peels out again after finding out that Lisa, I think, Lisa wanted to see Richard. So Lisa is in her home or in her apartment. There's a knock at the door. And again, she opens the door. "Where's my brother?" "Your brother just left. You just missed him. He's headed out of town, and he's headed to Paris for whatever reason. He's heading to Paris." At this point, I wrote down, is this an elaborate ruse by everybody? And my answer will come shortly.
After a musical break.
As Kevin leaves the building, he runs into Max and Conrad, and basically at this point he realizes he's been left to take all the blame. So we go to police headquarters. Kevin spills the beans about the divorce, the insurance, the money, the murder plot, everything. All right. So as the good guys, as I put them in my notes, Ben's there, I believe, isn't he? Maybe he wasn't because he was still painting with Billy. He was not there. I'm pretty sure. I take that back. That was a mistake on my behalf. But all the good guys, Max, Conrad, Michelle, Rob Brooks, they're all there in the hallway. And all of a sudden, who's being brought in by the cops? Rich. And Kevin's like, wait a minute, Richard. I thought you were in Paris. No, I'm not leaving town because I want my money. And I went down to Max's place and they didn't have my money. So it was indeed an elaborate ruse that I'm sure would be thrown out of a regular courtroom like that, because I don't think any of that was legal that you could do.
Nope, cops can lie to you, get a confession.
I know that, but this was a little more than just lying. Like, this was a massive scam. Well, Max, Michelle, Conrad, and Peter celebrate the victory at Ben's house. Ben and Billy arrive, and Ben asks Peter to help Billy get some work. And we have another Billy and Ben jam session, and Michelle smooches Max on the cheek. And that is the end of the episode, The Big Payoff. So, Jason, anything you want to talk about before we jump into our closing statements, or should we just do it?
Let's just do it.
All right, then, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for our closing statement.
This is the part of the podcast where John and I would rather take a nap than actually review this episode. So, John, what do you give this episode of Matlock?
First of all, I want you to know I did take a nap right after watching this episode because I was a little fatigued. But if we just cut out Randy Travis, I would have given this a 5. I give this a 4 gavels. I didn't think it was terrible, but I agree with you. Like, the Randy Travis storyline went nowhere, and it just was a time filler, which is why I'm so suspicious as to why he was on the show. Like, there's some reason why he was on the show. I mean, but as for the positives, I liked Max Sugarman. I thought the murder plot was decent. I like the fact that we got to see somebody else try the case or be in charge of the case other than Ben. So, yeah, I give it a 4. I think it was solid. Just if we had gotten rid of Randy Travis, it would have been much better.
See, I agree with you. My issue is it seems like they had half a script and they needed to fill it. So they filled it with music instead of, more plot and detail. And that's where it kind of lacked for me. So I'd give it a 2.5 to 3-ish range. But yeah, if you get rid of the Randy Travis guys, give us some more into the story, and it's a much better episode. It definitely could have been a 4 or 5 if it had been fleshed out more and less, musical performances. Which again, if that's your music, then God bless you. Watch it on YouTube, but it took away from the episode.
You know what? But wait, I would say this here real quickly, that any genre of music that ate up 8 minutes of the show, I don't care if it was rap, if it was heavy metal, if it was gospel, if it was whatever, any genre that took that much time out of the episode where we could have had some more explaining. I mean, that's where the problem is. It's not so much the genre, or at least I feel this way.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I mean, if the music isn't pushing the story forward, it doesn't need to be there. You could have a quick snippet of him singing and then cut.
And we've seen that. Remember, like when the one episode, and I can't remember the title, where he and Julie got stranded in that podunk town because he could make that connection with the guys playing on the stoop. Like, okay, I'm fine with that, but this just was shoehorned in for no apparent reason.
Mm-hmm.
And so, Justin says we have a couple of other comments here. Let's bring them up, Justin.
Brandon, what's up, buddy?
Hey, Brandon, thanks for watching, man.
We appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you very much. We appreciate it, indeed.
Please hit that like button if you guys are watching. And also, you can email us at benmattalk@gmail.com.
Guess what? I'm glad you remembered, because I totally forgot about to plug the show or plug where you can get in touch with us. Of course, you can also find us on Facebook at Mattalk podcast, which we kind of been slacking a little bit on that. I'm going to do a better effort of trying to get some more content over there and postings and whatnot. But before we run out of time, Jason, let's talk about our other podcasting projects. So what's going on with the Three Geeks podcast?
We are live what day are we live? Saturday at 7 p.m. Sorry, guys. I am a bit on the tired side. We got interviews Thursday at 7. We've got a classic episode of either an interview or a show Fridays at 7. And then next Sunday in this same time slot, we've got the big binge watch list with Jamie and I. And I've got some ideas for the summer because a lot of the shows that release in the summer are more bingeable. So there's going to be a lot of like top 5 lists and so forth. Just a lot of TV talk.
Did you sleep on the plane on the flight back?
I can't sleep on the plane, man, because they don't. Spirit and Frontier do not lean back.
What?
No, that seat is this.
Well, thank you. I will be very hesitant to book a flight on those two airlines now.
No, man, you're a cheap guy like I am, and Spirit is like 1/5 the price of everything else.
I don't know. I've heard some things. Anyways, I'll talk about the PVD cast at this point. The PVD cast is
fine.
But what?
Justin flew us actually the last time. We flew Spirit. Justin had to take over the controls and land us.
Because you were reliving Con Air. That's why, right? Anyways, I'm going to talk about the PVD cast, which is my own personal podcasting project. With episodes. Sorry, folks. Justin just said he's too busy listening to Fat Joe's lean back to respond. That was a good one, Justin. That was a good one. Anyways, pvdcast.com is the online home of yours truly, where you can find new episodes, or you can find it wherever you listen to podcasts, like Spotify, Amazon, iHeartRadio app, etc., etc. This week's episode, I sit down with the adventure illusionist Rich Manley, a gentleman that not only dabbles in magic, I can say it, doesn't only just dabble in magic, but he's got a TV show that he's working on. He's got a movie that's coming out. He's even going out on tour. So he's a very busy man. Again, check out Rich Manley. And I think we have one more comment here before we close up shop.
Yes, shout out to Tim. Yeah, I remember him telling you about us. Yeah, definitely. And Saturdays are more geeky shows, so definitely check that out.
Yeah, there you go. Thanks, Brandon, for checking us out again. We appreciate it. So, Jason, if there's nothing else, shall we get on out of here?
We shall, John.
All right, as they say in court,
Nothing
further. Jeez.